Ram Ram, Namaste, Namaskaram, Sitaram, Jai Bhagwan, Salaam Alaikum, and Bula to all the Fiji Indians living in Fiji and abroad, and also to all my Aitauki Fijian brothers and sisters living in Fiji and abroad. So today is the 15th of May. So imagine when Leonidas came to the mooring grounds of Levuka port on 14th May 1879. So 15th May 1879, what happened in the morning? So the colonial administrators went in a boat approaching the Leonidas to make its way into the Levuka port, or Enka at Levuka port. The captain and other engineers and senior officers of Leonidas then told them that they could not enter the port because there were many Girmitians sick with dysentery, diarrhea, fever, and also chickenpox. So when they mention about chickenpox, so about 40-50 years prior to 1879, there was an epidemic or pandemic of measles and even chickenpox in Fiji, and nearly 1/3 of the native Fijian population died. So the decision at first, after approaching the Leonidas, they went back to Levuka and they discussed as to what should happen. The first decision made was that they should send Leonidas back to Calcutta, India. When they informed of this decision to the captain and his senior engineers on Leonidas, they told the colonial administrators that after the few repairs they had to do on Leonidas, Leonidas had to make its voyage to San Francisco. So that option could not happen. So then the administrators thought, what do we do with all these Girmitians on Leonidas? Nearly 500 of them. So there is a small island called Yenuda Lailai, which is south of Avalau or south of Levuka, and probably southwest of Motoriki. Now, that island is still not habited by any human beings. I have received confirmation from the Department of Lands and Mineral Resources that it is an island owned by the Crown or the government of the day. So, then they had to make a decision as to who are we going to engage in building some accommodation on Yenuda Lailai. So they went and approached Ratu Seru Dakambau's son, Mag Dakambau. I don't know what type of communication they had during those years. And then they told him that we need at least 250 to 300 very strong Fijian men to build at least 30 bures as soon as possible. So the colonial administrators rounded up some very fit Fijian men from Talevu, from Motoriki, from Ovalau, and I think even as far as Wokai Island. So they were engaged in building 30 very large bures, guard houses, a clinic, a storeroom and warehouse, a kitchen facility, and it was done I think around within 6 to 7 days, but as soon as 20 were ready, they started to transport the Girmitias by small boats from Leonidas to Unudalailai. So each voyage from Leonidas to Unudalailai took 8 hours because they had to row the boat or paddle the boat. And I think after 1881 or 82, no Indian or Fiji Indian or Indo-Fijian has stepped on that island, except for Kirti Sharma, who wanted to go to the island and take some videos and take some photos. But the captain said that you have to do a sevu-sevu. And she had not done that according to the Fijian protocols. So there is no fresh water on Unudalailai. But I have visited many parts of Fiji where in the ocean there are bubbles which come out from underground, and it's basically fresh water. So there may have been some of that around Unudalailai, otherwise the Girmites would not have survived. And I don't know what compensation or monetary reward the colonial administrators in May 1879 provided for these Fijian men. So that's what happened. And it was not till August 15th that Sir Arthur Gordon organized a meeting of the plantation owners and Levuka and had a very lengthy meeting as to what to do with the Girmitias who came on board Leonidas. Leonidas, after a while, when some repairs were done, some fresh supplies were provided for the ship, it then continued its journey to San Francisco. And as I mentioned earlier, the first batch of Girmitias were taken to Rambi Island, which was owned by Captain John Hill. So 106 of them were taken there. So while I'm here today, I only came to know that Indians were taken to Rambi Island, but the person did not know anything more. So he is the owner of Sun City Ferries, who runs the ferry service from Navutu Jetty to Rambi Island. And I would like to personally thank Mr. Harichan, because if we did not have that conversation on his boat that day in May 2023, I would have not been able to gather any information and continued my research regarding the Girmitias on Rambi Island. And the second person I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart is Sales Reddy, a person who knows a lot of history of the Girmitias on the island of Taveuni. So once again, Sales and Harichan, thanks very much for all your assistance which you provided to me. And the third person is Jone Dakavula, who is now living in retirement near Savu Savu. And he was able to confirm to me that the Indians, or the Girmitias and the first generation of Girmitias, who were kicked out or evicted from Rambi Island, were taken to Loa village, and they used to plant a lot of rice, sometimes 2 to 3 crops per year. And there are still some remains of the houses in Loa. The other topic I will raise today, I saw an article on Facebook and Fiji Village News and I think the Fiji Times that the Vice Chancellor of University of Fiji, Ms. Shamim, has talked about reparations. But I am going to very briefly mention as to who are some of the people who are actually owed money in Fiji. Actually owed money. And I've had confirmation and I've read articles that when the British government purchased Rambi Island from Liva Brothers, which is now Unilever, one of the world's largest multinational company, which makes around 8 to 9 billion euros profit per year. The British government used the superannuation fund of the Banabans on Ocean Island to purchase the island from Liva Brothers. The superannuation fund was created that once the phosphate dried out on Ocean Island, then the Banabans would have money to live off on their pension or retirement. They would be getting some money. So the British cheated. So the Banabans living on Rambi Island have a case that the British government pay that amount and then compound interest from 1940 to 2025. 85 years of compound interest and then paid to the Rambi Islanders or the Banabans living on Rambi Island and other parts of Fiji. They are due that money. But when it comes to meetings, whether it is Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting or South Pacific Forum meetings, no one raises this issue because they are too afraid to raise it with the Commonwealth head or the British Prime Minister or Prince Charles. No, they shut their mouths. The second lot of people who I firmly believe are owed money are the Girmitians who were living on Rambi Island and kicked out and evicted like dogs. They were not paid a single penny or pound, I believe, by Liva Brothers and probably just left as soon as they could pack and leave for UK or came to Australia or whatever. Because if you calculate from 1880 till 1940, that is 60 years of work. Even if they had saved little bit of money, they would have been able to purchase crown land or freehold land around Natewa Bay or Wainunu Bay or the greater Savu Savu area. But they left penniless from Rambi Island. These are two cases which has merits. And I'm appealing today for any Rambi Islanders who want me to pursue this matter further, please contact me by messenger or by email. And I will give you my email once again. pravind.kumar1939@gmail.com. Get in touch with me. And I'm still looking for people from Girmitia generation whose ancestors, great-grandparents were born and lived on Rambi Island and were kicked out. Till today, I have only one person, only one family. There are more like 200 families. So that's where I will leave it, because it is very important that what happened after the evening of 14 May 1879 when Leonidas pulled into the mooring grounds of Levuka port. And then what happened after those few days. And it took around, I think, 8 to 10 days to transport the Girmitians from Leonidas to Yenuda Lailai. So thanks very much. Please share this with your friends and relations. Show it to your children and grandchildren about the true story or the facts of what happened when Leonidas came to the mooring grounds on the evening of 14th May, and then what happened from 15th for the next 10 or 12 days. So that's where I leave it. Thanks very much. This is Praveen Kumar, born and raised in Ba and lived in many parts of Ba and Tavwa and living in Brisbane, Australia for more than 34 years. So I leave it there. Once again, Ram Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Namaste, Namaskaram, Bula and wa alaikum salam.